All right, welcome to another episode of Australia's toughest podcast, Truly Rotten Potatoes. We're in the studio with the original gang, and we've also got a guest. So I'm going to let the gang introduce himself, and then I'll go through our guest.
What's up? It's gang member number 1, Hayden. Pleased to be here. I'm the handsome one. That's all.
And it's me. Your Rustafari. Wait, is that a thing? Rustafari? Rusty? Is that a kind of potato?
Yes.
Rusty's potato.
Rusty. Your Rustafari and Morgan. And I'm not going to do the voice.
Mitchie the Menace here, not to be confused with Mitcho the Menace. Checking in.
And Declan's obviously here. So, on the line... sorry.
Again, I am the handsome one.
Yeah.
And I'm the Rustafarian. Let's not forget that.
On the line, we have, live from Sydney lockdown, he's a comedian, he's an author, novelist, and today he's a film specialist. It's Benjamin Stevenson, everybody.
G'day, guys.
Some of you may know him from the Stevenson Experience. Some of you may know him from his book, Either Side of Midnight, which I've read. Some of you have been spreading the rumor that he may have worked at Bell's Dry Cleaning about, 10 plus years ago?
Yeah, I mean, it's a pleasure to be working with you again. I don't know if you remember me, but you taught me how to iron pants for a few months.
Oh, wow. I was like, it's sort of familiar, but it just didn't click at all. I look forward to hanging out with you in our 40s in the cancer ward, because I'm fairly confident there was some carcinogenics in that dry cleaner.
Yeah, it felt like I was cleaning my lungs out, but also actually just destroying my lungs at the same time.
So, Ben, you're a Southside Canberra boy as well, right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I grew up in Macarthur.
Oh, I'm a Chisholm man. We got some Gowrie heads
Gowrie
here.
boy.
Right around the corner, yeah.
Did you go to... what primary school did you at?
I went to Fadden,
Oh.
So...
And then high school?
McKillop.
Yeah, that...
Fadden had the weakest shops. You guys just had like a chiropractor?
Like one Domino's there.
Chiropractor, a vet, and a Domino's?
Oh, yeah, the vet. And it was right at the school as well. I don't even know who would have rented those places. Yeah.
Well, we got deep ties here, so speaking of deep ties, why don't we talk about Dark Tide from 2012?
It's one of the best segues you've ever had, man. I gotta, shout out to that.
So, Ben, what would you describe the genre of this movie? Like, at its base, it's a Halle Berry water movie with sharks, but if you were in a blockbuster, Fadden or Arundel blockbuster, maybe back in the day, where would you expect to find this on the rack?
Probably not on the rack, probably knocked on the floor somewhere. I mean, the genre of this movie was somebody made a nature documentary and decided it was
Yes.
too boring to be a nature documentary. And if they reshot 2 shark attacks, they could sell it as a horror film. I think that's the general vibe that I got.
Yeah, and I guess they wouldn't have had it on the rack at Blockbuster because it would have been in like a special glass case that you have to ask permission for the key for because it's like that good.
And the key is attached to a hubcap. And you've got to go around to the public toilets and somebody hands you the video there. Yeah, agreed.
You keep saying it wouldn't be in Iraq. Is that because they didn't have Blockbuster in Iraq? Like, is that it was only an American franchise, or what did they have in Iraq?
Well, they certainly had blocks being busted in Iraq.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Very, very topical.
Yeah.
It's a shark movie.
It's a shark movie, but it's not like Jaws where they are scared of the shark so much as Halle Berry is like a shark whisperer who seems to have a relationship with sharks where she can guide them in different directions and like lightly caress their fins and things like that.
Apparently, according to the dialogue in this film, she's one of the only in the world who can do this, who can swim with sharks and sort of not get killed by them.
It's one of those brilliant films where they have an expert and they tell you this person is the expert, as you say, the only person in the world who can do it. And every scene in which she does this skill, somebody dies. There is no evidence that she has ever been good at the skill at which the movie says that she has.
That's
Just the
true,
fact that
yeah.
she survives, I think, makes her the expert,
Yeah.
right? Like, she manages to get out of there. She always has to take some
And
collateral.
that's why, because everyone else is fodder.
That's
Everyone
right.
else is the bait. She's on the boat giving them little nicks with scalpels so they're bleeding in the water, so the sharks stay away from her.
But it's right. If you went up skydiving with someone who's like, I skydive every day, I've done 1,000 jumps, I've never died, but the people that do it, they die all the time.
They always use
But
the
I'm an
bodies
expert.
to land on to cushion
Yeah.
the fall, right?
I'm the top marksman at the Stormtrooper Academy. It's a real solid credential.
Well, I mean, my thing is that I went into it thinking, all right, we get a shark death, spoilers, in the first like 10 minutes, and from there you're sort of just waiting. You're like, oh, it's getting a bit scary. No. And that's pretty much the rest of the movie.
And as you say, Ben, definitely like lots of nature documentary vibes. I feel like a good 30-minute could have ended up on the cutting room floor that was just shots of seals swimming through the water and dolphins.
Yeah.
It was too long a film for what it was.
Yeah, it ended up being about an hour and 50 minutes. And I think there were certainly parts where maybe about half an hour in, Halle Berry was on her little ship just taking like 2 tourists at a time around the cove of Cape Town in South Africa and was literally like, here you'll find some penguins and over here are some seals and
right.
over here are some dolphins. And that went on for like a good 10 minutes.
A lot of
the
stuff.
general plot of a rich guy pays someone to do something that they don't want to do and they get into trouble, right? That's how you'd say the plot of the movie. That should happen in the first 15 minutes. We were 15 minutes from the end, my wife and I was like, the incident that starts this film has not happened yet. If they'd have done that, if the end had been sort of 45 minutes and they'd have, we'll get to what the actual plot mechanics of the ending are, but if they'd have had that incident 20 minutes in, then you've got something like The Shallows, the sharks can roam around,
Yeah.
you can get
Mitch brought up The Shallows.
But I'm like, still nothing has gone wrong, and we are 90 minutes into this bloody film.
Well, it breaks the rule of shark movies, which is you got to have something happening. Like that's your only rule. Give me
I
something
remember
to
learning
watch.
that on my first day of film
Shark
school.
school. Something's got to happen.
Something's got to happen.
Rule number 1. Something's got to happen. So we kick this movie off. Halle Berry is on a ship with her pals. They're all loving it.
We could give a quick rundown, right? So we got her French husband who does all the filming, whose name is Jean or Jacques, and I
But
think
you can call him Jeff.
yeah, but his middle name I believe is Francois. And is that just French for the word French or for France or
I
something?
don't know.
Like,
Yeah, I think you're right there.
like maybe if I went to another country, maybe my nickname would be Declan Australia.
Yeah, for sure.
Shrub.
Declan
absolutely.
Aussie Shrub.
Yeah.
You're only allowed to be called Francois if you're born in the Francois region of Francois.
That's right.
So this Francois, there's a guy called Themba, who's kind of like an older black fella, and he is like her spotter or something. He like supports her, always
He's the
watches.
eyes on the back of her head,
Yeah.
and she's the ones on the back of his.
And you know straight away the rapport these two have. He's an older gentleman, she's a younger girl, she's a go-getter, and he's the old wise man who looks after her on the boat. And there's a nice relationship there. But look, things aren't gonna go so well for
and
old
there's
mate.
one other guy on the boat, right, who's like the funny man.
Yeah, so let's just call him the guy who like drives the boat and
Yeah.
makes jokes.
But he's just wearing headphones in that scene. We don't know he's funny.
Yeah.
That's right.
But no, he does a thing where the husband is filming and getting Halle Berry to do this voiceover where she's like, the thing about sharks is they're more intelligent than you would believe, and she keeps doing this like narrating, and then the funny guy like starts kind of like not wrestling her but like playing with her and like and she's
Oh,
like,
that
"You-"
is funny.
yeah, she's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you stink and stuff,
Yeah,
and he's
yeah.
like, you love it, and I'm like, oh, are they the couple? Because they're having this kind of flirty fighty relationship. And then she's got her older black guy who's like the eyes on the back of her head. And I thought, oh, are they the couple? But then it turns out it's the French guy who spends that whole time just being like, please say the stuff for my camera. Like,
I think on a boat, relationships break down. And
Oh, yeah.
everyone's just sort
That's
of
so confusing.
in a couple.
Yeah.
The
on a
boat's
boat.
moving. It's very hard to tell who's who.
I think relationships and marriages are a very land-based thing. And as
That's
soon as you
right.
get on the high seas,
International
anything's
waters.
anything.
Do you know what I liked about that opening shot where so the movie sort of frames it through the camcorder lens as they're filming this documentary? And it does all these things during that shot where the cameraman says to the boat guy, the funny guy, he says, "I want you in the shot." And then the guy moves on the boat and then it goes back to the camcorder framing and he's not in the shot. And then Tembe comes in and he's like, "Get out." Halle Berry's like, "Get out of the shot. You're ruining it. And then he delivers lines to the camera for narration for the documentary perfectly, like he was always supposed to be there. So the cameraman's he's like, "Do this, we're filming this. And then it's like, none of them are all like, "Oh, we're not supposed to be here. We're not supposed to be in this shot." And there's no other way they could have constructed the scene as a film crew. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah. And that scene basically leads into Halle Berry getting in the water.
Before she does that, we discover that Tembe's one day away from retirement.
Yeah, he does say something like that, and that is kind of a lightning rod for he doesn't have long to live, right?
Yeah, right. So Halle Berry's like, "You know what? There's actually more sharks down there, believe it or not. I'm going down one more time." He's like, "No, I can't. My wife will kill me. I'm gonna get retired." And she's like, "Come on, please, come on."
Yeah. She pulls his leg, and so does a shark.
But what's he doing out there to begin with? If he's like,
Yeah.
I quit a week ago. What are you doing?
You know
here?
when you're leaving a job and for like the last 2 weeks you are checked out
Yeah,
mentally
yeah.
and you're like, "I don't have to care about any of this work anymore." He was doing that. He's
That's
like, "I'm
right.
on the boat, but
That's
I'm just
right.
hanging out."
Well, so he says that he'd be more help from the surface. Everything that he says is, "I got a bad feeling about this. I'm 2 days from retirement." They put everything in there to go, "This guy's gonna die by shark."
Yeah.
And I was expecting, like, all right, this is just going to be more people being like, "I don't like the look of that water."
It does take a long time. I feel like it's like 10 minutes before he actually gets eaten by the shark, and you spend the whole time being like, "I know he's about to get eaten by this shark." But yeah, that inciting incident happens quite late. Like you're just sitting there going, "Can it just happen so the rest of the movie can happen? Can we just get over this?" But yes, he does get killed, and then it basically skips to 1 year later, and Halle Berry is now kind of depressed, and she's just taking tourists in a really rinky-dink ship around the cove and like showing them animals, and she specifically is like, "How many people do we have on the ship today?" And he's like, "We got 2." And she's like, "But I want as many as that ship there has," where there's like, I don't know, 30 people partying on this yacht.
Yeah.
That yacht's conveniently not blood spattered like the side of hers. Why am I getting anybody? I will say credit where credit's due. As boring and drawn out as Tembe's death was, they used the real sharks pretty well.
Yes.
It's low budget, but when it goes to CGI for the quick bit where he dies, it's mixed in with some good shark footage, I thought.
Yeah,
Good.
We had to watch Jaws 4: The Revenge for this podcast, and that was very clearly like an animatronic shark and looked terrible. This was like 95% of the time was real sharks in a tank or something.
And I think when you bring the directorial prowess of whoever the fuck the guy is,
John Stockwell.
John Stockwell, to the table, the guy who has done such films as
Into the Blue. What was the other one?
That other surfy one. So there's the one with Jessica Alba, and then the one with Kate Stockton or
the
something.
point is,
Yeah.
the man knows sharks, and you know when you're turning up to what's his name again?
Stockwell.
When you're turning up to a Stockwell production, you're gonna see sharks.
That's what you're paying for.
That's what I'm
You're
paying
paying for
for.
footage of sharks.
So is Into the Blue the one with Paul Walker and
Paul Walker, Jessica
Jessica
Alba,
Alba, yeah.
also feature sharks.
yeah, and like hot surfy people, and I think Halle Berry and Jessica Alba have a similar kind of place in the pantheon of Hollywood actresses. So I can
Sure.
see that you would do one with one of them and then be like, all right, 10 years later, I'm doing another one of these water movies where there's sharks and, you know, attractive actresses.
Well, I mean, she does well in A Storm, as
Yes.
she was Storm in the X-Men films.
Very good.
Okay.
Thanks,
I
guys.
feel like Jessica Alba's Oscar may elude her, though. I'm just throwing it out there.
Wait, does Halle Berry have an Oscar?
Yeah, she does. Was this made after she won the Oscar?
Definitely.
What
This
did she
is-
win for? Monsters Ball?
It was Monsters
Yeah,
Ball,
that-
and that's like the year 2000.
And that's the sequel. That's the sequel to Dodgeball, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
okay, cool, yeah.
Well, Dodgeball's a prequel.
No, it's the crossover of Monsters Inc. and Dodgeball.
Dodgeball. Yeah, it's a Pixar.
That was good. Yeah, fair enough.
Well, so this was Halle Berry's career is really confusing because you got
Yeah.
like the heights of like Monsters Ball, and then you got like Swordfish, and you got like
Gothica.
X-Men movies, Gothica,
Yeah.
with the beautiful Limp Bizkit.
Then you got James
cover
Bond
of
as well.
Blue
She was
Eye-
a
yeah.
Bond girl.
Die Another Day. So I think that this
Perish just once more.
What
This
is
movie-
Monsters Ball actually about?
It's Billy Bob Thornton.
Yep, that doesn't tell me.
And I remember one scene where she's crawling around on the ground saying, I want you to make me feel good. I want you to make me feel good. That's the only scene I remember. That's from Monsters Ball, right?
yeah. Yeah, that's
Ben, and any insight here? Do you know what Monsters Ball's about, or?
I haven't seen it, so no.
Okay. Well, there we go. I'll never know.
Yeah. Then there's that other scene where she says that classic line, "I want your monster's ball." And I think that's where the name of the movie came from, even.
I
But yes,
don't know.
she'd already done Catwoman at this point, so it's sort of like you don't know what you're getting with her. She doesn't do an incredibly bad job,
No, she
but
was...
it's sort of scattered.
Yeah. I thought she was fairly charming.
Well, I think most of her roles are just taken based on the location of shooting, right?
Yeah, that one did feel like this one was a very, like, we're in South Africa and I get to go swimming and fishing and see all these animals and stuff. Yeah, that sounds cool.
Which is exactly what
I
happened.
do find that interesting when people say that when they make movies, though. You know, they say it a lot about Adam Sandler's, he just wanted an all-expenses-paid vacation. Old mate doesn't need a free trip to Mexico, right?
he can get there.
He can spot a plane to South Africa.
Yeah, that's what we thought. And the other thing is, like, that might sound good in theory. You go, well, I get paid to go there, and then once we wrap, I'll just hang out there and holiday. The filming, you're on, like, a boat the whole time. You're probably seasick. Like, that boat was shaking a lot. They go through storms. They're in the cold water. Like, it wouldn't be as fun as you think when it gets pitched.
Well, I looked a little bit into it. So apparently they had one porta potty, which most of the crew would use. So Halle Berry couldn't use it, and she was very seasick.
Really?
Um,
That sucks.
so she's having an awful time. But she did meet her husband on set, which is a love interest in the movie.
Oh well.
The French guy.
Yeah, they got married and had children, and so this was a big win for her. I mean, it did lose like $24 million, but
Was he a producer on the film? Because there's that scene where
No,
she yells at him, "Stop using me to make money."
Oh, yeah. That was such a weird
that could be a
argument.
component of this.
Yeah, I've had that argument with my partner so many times.
On a boat.
All
Always.
these schemes.
Yeah. All right, so let's just do like the quick plot rundown. So Thembe dies. Halle Berry's kind of over it. She's not doing the shark stuff anymore. She's taking tourists. They do that thing where they go, the bank's about to repossess your ship. And she's like, well, not if I get a second mortgage. And then they're like, you're going to need a really good lawyer. And then her husband, who she hasn't talked to in a year, because he was there when they watched
She's
their friend die.
traumatized. She walked away from him.
Yeah.
And
She
she's
doesn't
living with Thembe's wife.
Yes.
Who still works for her?
Yeah.
Exactly.
She's fine.
And seems
It's
to
fine.
really be quite encouraging. Like, get back out of the water. It's what he would have wanted.
I did want to ask, Ben, did you feel that in that scene she knew how her husband had died?
In answer to your question that started with, did you feel? I felt nothing during this encounter. No, it was really weird because you're right, she was so enthusiastic for Halle Berry to sort of, rebuild herself. But now that we're talking about it, I actually reckon maybe she's like, yeah, you should go out there hoping that Halle Berry gets it. It's like subterfuge.
Leave a life jacket on the boat. Just go swimming with
I
the
talked to
shark.
the sharks
There's
before.
a
They're
wasp
cool.
in the
It's,
scuba tanks, all of the kind of things.
Yeah. So when he gets ripped in half and it kind of does like a credits fade to the, a year later, I was like, all right, what is the plot to this movie? Usually the teaser scene at the start like sets up what the plot's going to be, but the guy's already dead. We know a shark did it. I was like, is it a mystery where they're like, but why did the shark decide to eat this guy? He was so friendly every other time we swam with him. But no, it takes like another good I don't know, 40 minutes before it happens. But basically her husband comes back and is like, hey, I know we haven't talked in ages, and I know that they're about to repossess your ship, but there's a job coming and they're going to pay you a lot of money. And she's like, I don't want no job. But then she sits in her car for 2 minutes and has flashbacks of Thembe, of like the one time we've seen him in the movie, which was just them on the boat already.
But then, it's in slow-mo this
Yeah, it's
time.
in slow-mo. And then I guess she's like rethought her position. And so she comes back and she's like, what's the job? They take them to lunch with this rich English guy who's a bit of a kind of pompous dick. And he's basically like, I'm going to pay you 100,000 euros to let me swim with a shark because I know you're the best shark swimmer around. And that's your whole plot.
They kept referring to the point that she's the only person in the world who can swim with sharks. And I'm sitting there watching the film saying, well, obviously Halle Berry isn't the only person who can swim with sharks. So is it true that there's only one person in the world that can swim with sharks? And if so, did they get them for this movie for all the scenes where there's someone swimming with the sharks? And I just kind of am
The answer is
interested
no.
No.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that plot setup. The lunch in which the rich guy offers her money goes for about 12 minutes. It's like, come on, just offer her the money. But there's nothing wrong with that plot setup. I mean, I got lots of, Jurassic Park 3 vibes from that. You can go
I'll take your
somewhere
word
with
for
that
it.
setup once they take the money and get into trouble. But then they just go out on a boat.
And at this point, you're like, there's over an hour left to go. So this guy's very over the top. He's an asshole. He doesn't care for the rules and stuff. This English guy, he's rich. He's there with his teenage son, who we later find out is his 7th child from 3 different women. And the guy might also be dying of cancer, so he's got a bit of a death wish. But basically, it's like a vanity trip. It's I'm gonna pay you a lot of money. You're gonna let me swim with a shark. Kind of like the people that go and like shoot elephants on safari or something.
Well,
like
yeah,
that.
you don't really get his motivation. You just think he's a fucking crazy person, thrill seeker, looking to do something exciting. But you slowly start to piece together as you find out that he has cancer, that like, oh, he's like trying to squeeze the last bit of juice out of his life, and he wants to like look like a hero to his son that he didn't spend enough time with. Like, it kind of makes sense.
Well, let's just say it. I mean, he's Breaking Bad.
Yeah, and that's so true. And there are a lot of scenes that reminded me of Breaking Bad in this movie.
The shark.
The seals. Lots of seals in Breaking Bad from memory. It's been a while since I've watched it.
It skirts around a lot of developments that almost kind of elevate it. So when he just his son just yells at him that he has cancer about 3/4 of the way through. And my brain went, that's actually really clever. Is this guy out here to die? Is this what is happening? And then it just forgets about it. And then I realized what was happening was, because I always get this dread when you watch bad movies, particularly horror movies. And like, this is very, what's the word? It's sort of schadenfreude of me, but I look at it and the movie starts and I just think, cast of 4, this movie's going to be shit. They can only kill one of them. Otherwise it's mean-spirited. So when they're like, you have cancer, I'm like, they've only scripted that in so that we don't feel bad when he bites the dust, because he's the only person on the ship that they can kill and us not think it's mean-spirited.
Yeah.
He actually very soon after that protects his life more so by insisting that he's in a cage and that they test the waters before dropping him in there. So yeah, it goes against his whole cancer claim.
Yeah. But they
I think he's lying.
Yeah, it's very dubious.
So they set him up to be the asshole, and he's just kind of being arrogant. And at one point he starts smoking, and they're like, "You can't smoke here." And then he's like, "Oh well, I'm just going to. I flew in a private plane, and I could smoke on that." They make him put his cigarette out. Then like 20 minutes later, the French guy is just smoking on the boat, and the guy rightfully calls him out. He goes, "Hey, how come you're smoking?" And he's like, "I know the owner." And then he's like, "Can I have some?" And the guy just doesn't give it to him. So you're like, all right, well, they're treating him like the dick he was.
He says it's French humor. That's his French.
He says, "Oh, French humor," and then he calls him Prince, the Frog Prince. And then the French guy gets super indignant, gets up in his face. And he's like, "That is not a joke." And he gets really. He's like, "I'm sorry. I'm an idiot. I made a stupid joke because I'm an idiot, and I'm so sorry." And then I'm like, "Oh, this guy's not that bad."
But
He
then
doesn't
you
deserve to die.
hate him more because he starts treating his son like shit. In that, so they eventually come across a shark. and Halle Berry jumps into the water. The son and the millionaire dad get into a cage, get lowered into the water. They I don't think they get to see a shark, or they do get to see a shark at one point.
They see it briefly, but it doesn't even come to them in the cage.
Yeah, and then they come out of the cage, and so then they go and they try it again, and the father is really pushing his son to get the fuck back in the cage and go again, and the son's like, actually, Dad, I don't want to do this.
Yeah, the son's taking photos the whole time, and he's like, I got a lot of great photos from that first drop, so I'm actually good now, yeah.
And his dad's like, starts like, almost like beating him, like, get the fuck back in the cage, motherfucker.
Aggressively trying to zip his like swimsuit back up.
And that's when that's when I found that, I took a real shining to the father, because I thought that's a good kind of
Good way to
relationship
treat your
I would
kids.
want to develop with my children one day, you know?
Yeah.
The kid was weird. He played it, I don't know, the first sort of half hour he was in the film, he was playing it like he was a serial killer. Like he was a creepy kid, and he was being all weird. And then he goes to that first dive, and he comes out, and he loves it, and he's all happy, and he's like, actually, my character arc is that I'm artistic, and I'd like to be a photographer when I grow up, and my dad doesn't approve. And I'm like, I thought you were going to stab everybody on the boat up until this point, and now you're a photographer.
That's the problem with this movie, is that they set up possible good plot threads, like old rich guy with a death wish. Oh, is he going to start pushing people off the boat, being like, I just wanted to see a shark.
Oh, how about those guys that snuck onto the beach and got all that caviar from the bottom?
Oh, we missed the. What
That was
like a 5 minutes.
The most inexplicable
Declan
part.
and I spoke about this while the movie was playing. So, like, you start the movie off, someone gets killed by a shark. Great. Then you have 20 minutes of like, all right, meet this millionaire. How are we going to get Halle Berry back out there with sharks? Okay, she needs money. The millionaire will give her money. And then, almost like you'd forgotten 25 minutes into the film that sharks kill people, they insert this scene with a bunch of randoms that go out into the ocean to get, like, I don't know what the fuck that was.
Mollusks or some sort of...
Some kind of endangered, like, species from the bottom of the ocean floor that are worth heaps of money. Poachers are out there getting this money, and then, of course, money. Yeah. So stacks of money on the bottom of the floor of the
booty.
ocean. They're going to get the booty. And
it's the middle of the night as well.
It's the middle of the night. You
pitch
can't
black.
see fucking anything.
You hear them under the water go, ooh, midnight booty.
Yeah, for all the scenes that were really well shot, you can't see anything for like 10 minutes.
And then sharks, I mean, we assume, because you can't see anything, sharks kill all three of the poachers. And it just was a waste of my precious time that scene was in there. Because we all know that sharks kill.
Yeah, it was a weird one where you think that, like, is it just to remind you that going into the water is dangerous? Because we still remember that from the first scene, and we remember that from Jaws.
Kids Alive Do the Five.
Yeah.
All of these things.
Doesn't that smack of some, I don't know, some executive watching the first cut and being like, put anything in the first 40 minutes. I don't care who it is. We just need
Nobody's
a death.
died in the last 20 minutes. So
Like, we've run out of shark footage. Just make it dark.
Yeah, what about that dark footage you guys had?
It's not a bad point, though. Like, I can totally see being like, without that scene, there's no more shark attacks for an hour. We need something in the middle.
It's almost like they could have cut half an hour worth of footage of
what
seals.
They should have been doing. They shouldn't have been adding more time with characters we don't know or care about. And that scene was the worst in terms of, like, the way that it was filmed and blocked. It was just, like, blurry, dark water shots and music and stuff. And you're like, people are dying, I guess? I'm not seeing anything here.
That Game of Thrones battle was better lit than that shark death scene. I thought it was my TV. I couldn't see a single thing. Like,
We had to turn off the lights.
Yeah. I almost thought that, I think I said this to Hayden, that, like, maybe they did have more of a story for these characters that were going to tie in. And when they looked at the footage, they were just like, we underexposed all of this. This is unusable. And they were like, maybe we can salvage, like, a shark attack if we just do a lot of bubbles and stuff.
Yeah, and that's actual real footage of those guys being killed. So it would have been disrespectful not to use that footage.
Yeah. So then, yeah, those guys get introduced and disappeared. I don't even think we learn their names or even hear that they died either. Like it has no.
There's just
on
another pickup truck that pulls up behind it and remarks upon like, "Oh, there's a Toyota pickup
Yeah,
there."
it's like a cop or someone who's like, "Oh, there's a
we don't
truck
know who
here."
those people were that found the truck.
I mean, maybe it's an environmental message. If you go like scalping for mollusks off the rocks, you deserve to die a shark death.
That's why Tembe died. He had his pockets loaded
Yeah.
with abalone.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm quitting tomorrow. I'm stealing shit.
Yeah. He's like, you guys don't realize there's solid gold at the bottom of these rocks. So then, yeah, basically, after they've had their first little cage dive, they've seen a shark, but he didn't have the experience he wanted, which is that the old rich London guy had been begging to be let out of the cage and actually swim with the sharks. That's what he's paying for. That's what he's on this trip for. The shark leaves when he's in the cage, so they're like, we saw it, but he's like, I'm not paying 100,000 euros just to see a shark. We got to get back out there. And he keeps saying, you guys got to throw some chum out there. Throw a dead fish head or something. Like, get it back over here. And they do let them back in, but this time when the shark comes, the London guy lets himself out of the cage, goes a bit near the shark,
slaps it on the back of the fin.
Touches it and does a dancey wiggle. And then Halle Berry basically pulls him up and he's like, what the hell are you doing? There's no, you're breaking all the rules. This is my ship. You got to do what I say. And he's like, look.
He goes, come on, it was a pretty cool dive. And he asks for a high five and she high fives him.
Yeah.
Because she can't deny how cool the dive was.
Mid-argument, he's like, come on, you got to admit that was cool. And she like begrudgingly high fives him while still
Not even
chewing him out.
begrudging. She doesn't skip a beat. She's screaming at him. She's like, hell yeah.
That was a cool dive.
But yeah, he's also like, look, I still got my head. I still got my limbs. I'm all here. That was awesome. And then
Hands down, his dick is just missing.
her response is to go, okay, you want to break the rules and go swimming with the shark? I'm taking you to Shark Alley.
They go to Shark Alley.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so and it's getting late in the day and the sun is going down, and Shark Alley does not sound like the kind of place you want to be as the sun's going down.
Yeah.
I think just before they go to Shark Alley is when they have the big fight. When does that happen?
So then the
beforehand.
husband and Halle Berry fight because it's revealed that he was sort of
message
manipulating her to get out onto the ocean
And do something unsafe.
He sort of said, like, to the rich guys, like, don't worry, we'll get her out on the boat and I'll coerce her into going into the water with sharks. Don't worry, we'll figure it out.
Or to letting you go in the water with sharks.
Right.
Yeah.
And so she finds this out. She loses her shit, and he's like, "No." He starts gaslighting her. He's like, "No, I was actually doing it to help you.
Yeah.
You want to be with sharks, and you just needed a push." And she's
It's
like,
what
"You know
you
what?
love."
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do love sharks.
So then,
Let's go to
then
Shark
she
Alley."
starts acting completely like in spite. Like she's just like, all right, you want to go with the sharks? We're going to Shark Alley in the middle of a storm at night, and you're going to swim with the sharks. Everyone's going to swim with the. She's just like, may as well kill everyone then. If you're
and
not
they
gonna
get
listen
out
to me.
there, and old rich man's getting a bit sheepish. She's like, "Oh, maybe I'll just go inside the cage this time. It's fine." She's
And
like, "You want to get in the cage, motherfucker? You're not going in the cage."
Yeah.
She's hating it.
And also for some reason, like they do little things to ramp up the tension. So they're in the cage, and then she says it's mating season, which means the sharks get bitey because when sharks are mating, they get bitey, and then they start to go, "We're going to Shark Alley," the scariest part of town
just
with the
for the listener at home. Every time Declan says Shark Alley, shivers down my spine.
It sounds like there's a bunch of sharks behind carnival attractions being like, step right up, throw a ping pong ball in this shark's mouth and see what you win.
See, I'm
It's
picturing
run by
more
sharks
like,
as well.
I'm picturing more like you walk down the wrong part of Shark Alley and like 3 sharks block you in with knives and they're like, "Give us your wallet. This is what you paid 100,000
I was thinking
euros
a
for."
magical land that separates real Muggle London from magical London,
Oh yeah.
but it's all sharks.
No, that's Shark Drive.
Speaking of Shark Drive, Greg Norman, right? The shark, he could drive.
Oh, mate,
Was he called the Shark?
He was called the
he
shark.
was the
Yeah.
shark.
Don't
Golf
disrespect
shark.
Greg Norman on this podcast.
No, I just didn't. I don't know anything about golf.
Look at his leathery skin. That's
What's
a shark.
Tiger Woods called then? The Tiger? The Tiger Shark?
Balloon Man.
Okay.
Greg Norman's really the Paul Hogan of golf, isn't
He
he?
is. He really is. We should get Greg Norman on the podcast. Write that down.
All right, I'll ask him next.
Hey, Ben, do you know Greg Norman?
I don't, I'm afraid, but I love how during my guest appearance you're discussing better guests.
What are
Next
some other
time,
good guests
let's
that we could
upgrade
get on the
next
podcast?
time. Let's get Greg Norman. Let's see if we can.
Yeah.
See if we can sort him out.
Ben, are you good at golf or not? Because we can wrap this up real quick.
Definitely not. I like how this plot moment where Halle Berry decides to take them through. I mean, it's oversimplifying it, but she basically goes, "Fine, I'm gonna fucking murder all of you." Like, there's no other solution.
Yeah. She's taking them to the danger zone. And, even the rich English guy, instead of being like, oh, yeah, this is what I wanted, he's just like, maybe I'll stay in the cage this time. And she's getting in his face. She's like, oh, now you want to stay in the cage. Now you want to stay in the cage. Anyway, while they're driving there, the hydraulics on the boat just break. And they are, like, speeding into some rocks. So there's a few seconds of tension. I don't really understand how they had to manually turn the boat away, but...
Well, there's a couple options, I would assume. I'm no boatman. I'm no ship gentleman, but I'd assume you'd stop the boat before you'd attempt to try and steer it away from the rocks, right?
Yeah.
Like, they can still stop
they
the
still
engine.
have a rudder or something, right?
Or throw an anchor down.
Manually pivoting the rudder. But I was surprised that they were so close to rocks, because that would be more Shark Cul-de-sac than Shark Alley. But yeah, why didn't they turn the engine off? He's like flooring it. Turn! Hit the fucking brakes!
And that was a weird moment of, like, manufactured tension, where just out of nowhere, it's like, we're full speeding into these rocks!
Well,
and then 10 seconds later, they're like, oh... Phew, we avoided that
I
somehow.
think the reason that didn't quite land and why I wasn't feeling that tense at the idea of them hitting the rocks is there wasn't a scene 45 minutes earlier where poachers were hit by rocks. So I had forgotten that rocks can kill people.
Yeah.
Couldn't see the rocks. The
That's
rocks
right.
were there.
Yeah.
So then they go to a new area, which is Shark Alley, which is not an alley at all. It's just an area of the ocean that has slightly more sharks. But at this point, it's like dark night, grey, stormy, and the boat fully gets capsized, and the guy in the cage, the old guy in the cage, gets like cracked off from the boat and like sinks to the bottom, and they have to turn him over. And then you get like the last 20 minutes of the movie, which is just like, how do we survive this storm now that our boat's
capsizes the boat. The young son is MIA. The funny man is like, I know there are some tense scenes because, like...
Men in Black?
What? Yeah, Men in Black. Yeah, he's Men in Black. There's a tense scene. So the boat flips over, and it's always my worst nightmare of getting stuck like under a boat, and he's like in like a little cavity of air.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like gasping for air and then going back out trying to get out of the house part of the boat.
Yeah.
Whatever it's called.
My worst nightmare is a car driving me.
And everything's going to shit. And I thought this part of the movie, if they'd gotten to it sooner, I thought it played pretty well. It was tense enough. You couldn't tell who anyone was. Because it was just dark. It was a bunch of people in scuba suits, and none of them were actually...
Yeah, they're wearing the full scuba suit, which is basically a ninja outfit, just with the eyes revealed. And because it's dark, you literally can't tell who's being saved.
Appropriation, honestly.
Yeah. But we were saying that, like, to die in that situation is pretty cool because, your eulogy would be like, he died being eaten by sharks while dressed like a ninja. Like, that's just like the childhood dream, right?
Basically doing kung fu with sea life.
Yeah.
But I thought that scene played well. I thought if we had, I don't know, it could have been a tight 70-minute film. Get to that scene. The boat's upside down. They're swimming to the bottom of the ocean floor, unlocking cages, rescuing guys.
I did like when the guy, I can't remember his name, but he's hanging onto the side of the boat, the comic relief guy, and this shark comes up and I think bites his foot off, but it's sort of like when you eat a jelly snake and it just kind of stretches out your mouth. This shark just kind of nuzzles him and then his foot kind of stretches off, and I'm like, did he just get his foot bitten off? I couldn't tell. But like, it was weird that they front-loaded both those, that they backloaded both of those deaths, because like, you're right, if you cut that down to 80 minutes and then you have one of those deaths and then 20 minutes later, the finale, and another one of those deaths, it sort of at least feels like it's moving. Instead, they're just doing both at the end for no reason.
There are movies that you go, oh, that was too long. But this was very clearly like there was a lot of stuff you could cut. It was slow moving, and all the scenes were extended, and it took so long to get to places. But you weren't like, well, they had to pack in a lot of plot, you know? You didn't have to show Halle Berry take this couple on a tour for like 15 minutes about the different things. There were a lot of beautiful shots in the water with the light kind of like reflecting through and twinkling, and like they looked really nice, but you could literally cut every second one of them out.
15 minutes of them swimming underwater with seals. That scene drove me insane.
They go to the seal place like 3 times in this movie.
Seal Island is a caption for it.
What kind of works, I think, for me is, so they're all on top of the capsized boat. Everyone's still alive, I think, at this point. Maybe Comic Relief Man's lost his leg, but they can't find the younger son, and of course we don't want the younger son to die because he was like, you know,
An
he's
artist.
fine, and an artist. That's right. He's finally coming into his own. And they spot him out in the distance, and so I think again it was very hard to see what was happening. But
That confused the shit out of me because she went off
Yes.
to save him,
and then so too did his father.
and I was like, did I zone out?
She went for the lifeboat.
Oh,
She was nowhere near anybody. It took me ages to figure out what she was doing. And then I'm like, where is she?
Yeah. And the lifeboat almost looked like just a big beer keg, right? But I guess
If it was a beer keg, I would have been down there in 5 minutes,
Yeah.
back up
Hell
easy.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean, boys?
Hell yeah.
Beer.
Oh, boy.
Imagine if the sea was beer, though.
Oh, that'd be sick. That'd actually be so sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would go.
No,
You imagine how drunk the sharks would be? That's-
Yeah, you
I'd
got
have a beer
belligerent
with that
sharks
shark.
there. Shark Alley's going to be a rough place.
Yeah. They'd be like, give me another.
pour me another bit of ocean.
It'd have to be Guinness to match the title of the film.
The father spots his son, swims way out to save him, does save him, drags him back to the boat, and you know this is a story of redemption. The mean father actually, you know, steps up and is a good dad for once. And then of course, old Great White comes up and takes his father, and
He
so-
sort of just gives up.
he does give up.
He's having some sort of.
He has a
He's having a cancer attack. He's
It's
having a cancer attack.
Yeah.
I liked how, because at the start of the movie, he's trying to impress his diving qualifications upon Halle Berry so that she'll take him out. And he lists all this stuff he's done. He's like, I've done an evac 76 at 1,800 meters, or I don't know, lists a whole bunch of stuff. And then at the end, like, I get it. It's a storm and there's sharks and he's having a cancer attack or whatever. It's 20 meters. It's 20 meters.
Yeah. And it's that life or death, like you'd hope the adrenaline's pumping and is able to get you through it.
But I mean, with all that beer he's consumed being under the water, he's probably wasted, you know.
And we always knew he was going to die. You can't show up in a shark movie and just be like insulting everyone and flaunting your wealth and breaking the rules. Like,
But he's lingering there for like a minute. Like they swim back,
Yeah,
and they
you're
cut
almost
to
there.
Halle Berry, and they'll cut back to him, and he's still kind of having trouble. I'm like, just eat him, just kill him.
Maybe if they'd let him have a cigarette earlier.
If you're fleeing from a shark, doggy paddle is not your best option.
No, or just sort of like lying, kind of kicking. I don't know.
He's coughing. He's got his cancerous coughs that make him sound like a seal.
that just attracts the sharks more.
What was annoying, actually, again, I guess I just hate seals, but you know, you have these like artful shots where the camera goes underwater and it's like,
Yeah.
and then you come back up for air and you hear like, you know, seagulls and stuff, but you also hear the sound of 1,000 seals
Yeah.
going,
Yeah. It was
So
like a
annoying.
baby crying or
Yeah.
something. Yeah. I found a lot of the sounds to be quite weird, and they did it a lot where whenever the water was underneath, it would pop up and the sound would change, and then it would go back under, and it would...
Anyway, then a helicopter saves the ones that are alive, which are Halle Berry, her husband, and the little kid.
Yeah.
But it's not over, because then it comes back after it fades out, and it fades back in, and it's the shark flying the helicopter, and it just rains down bullets on them.
Yeah.
Well, I think the epilogue of this movie was the most like groan-worthy part of the movie, because it comes in the way that the movie comes in, where it's shots of the ocean and then Halle Berry's narration about
beautiful bookend.
sharks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And didn't she even do like a when I was a kid, all I ever wanted to do was swim with the sharks. Yeah.
That was at the start of the film, wasn't it?
Well, she does it again.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And so
gives
she's
it-
back.
What was at the start? Was be careful of what you love because it might kill you.
Yeah. There was a lot of like really bad thematic, like trying to sum it up, and you're like,
Because
is
if
that
you
what
love
the movie
something,
was
it
about?
might kill you. And it's like, that's not the lesson you learned.
Yeah, it is, because he wants cigarettes the whole time.
He
Had a
loves
cancer
cigarettes.
attack.
Yeah.
Right.
I also loved that when he wasn't allowed to smoke, he said, "All right, but I'm going to be cranky later on," which is such a weird thing for like a 50-plus-year-old man to say. Like, I'm going to be cranky later on. And then when he got into that fight with his son, he was like, you know, I told you guys I would be cranky later on.
I can't help that I'm physically abusing my son. I don't have any cigarettes.
I mean, and he was smoking before they left. She's
Yeah.
like, you can't smoke on the boat. All right, I'll be back in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Right. Like, they're on the shore.
Also, why can't he smoke on the boat? There's plenty of water around to put out any potential fires that he starts.
Well, that's just
I
not...
think they're just being controlling, honestly. I wonder if they'd be allowed
When you
to
say
watch
they,
The
do you
Mask.
just mean women?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Generally, whenever I'm speaking, I'm referring to women. I wonder if they'd be able to watch The Mask on that boat.
Because of that scene
Yeah,
where Jim Carrey...
smoking.
I think
Jesus
people are allowed
Christ.
to say
Okay,
it. I
alright.
think they're just not allowed to actually smoke, yeah. But they can't wear green masks on either. That's just distracting.
Because then we'd be able to tell who was who in the water, and this movie just does not agree with that at all. I found it weird that, you know, the movie still plays like Halle Berry has a redemption arc. You know, like she's fallen back in love with the ocean, and now her business will be okay. And it's like, no, she's just done even worse. She's even more traumatized.
She's personally responsible for more deaths than she was originally.
She never left the ocean. In fact, she wasn't sufficiently traumatized by my standards to what happened at the beginning of the movie that she should then just continue working in the same line of like shark tours.
She's like, I don't swim with the sharks, but I still am in a boat all day around the same areas.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what would have been great if she fell in love with bringing people to Shark Alley and then capsizing boats?
Now, serious question. Did the rich Englishman pay in advance? Because if
That's
you...
what they said was going to happen.
Okay,
Yeah.
because if you die via shark attack, you don't have to pay $100,000 and she still loses her boat.
Maybe she gets an insurance payout for the boat.
Her boyfriend said to her, listen, the money's already in your account about halfway through the film, which was where, because I was thinking about that, I'm like, this is a plot hole because this old rich guy is the only one who can really die for the rest of this movie, as well as the comic relief. But you could just tell when script notes patch up those plot holes. So that everyone's like, well, how does she get the money? I'll just have someone say the money's already in your account halfway through the film.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they just had a beginning and end, and all the rest were just the script notes, and they were like, we've got a perfect spot for that. Right in the middle.
No, he had to be paid in advance to fix the boat so they could go on this expedition.
Yeah, but
Sure,
then
sure,
as soon as
sure.
they got on, remember, he was like, what kind of rinky-dink operation is this? And they're like, it's fine, the boat's gonna be fine. But yeah, like the first time he stepped on the boat, the Englishman like made some comment about how shit it was.
Foreshadowing.
So,
Five-shadowing.
yeah, I guess we've made it to the end of the movie,
Yeah.
which is good, because we did it a lot quicker than the actual movie did it.
Thank fuck for that.
Yeah. It felt like they didn't really have a full script and they just had like, look, we got 5 actors, we got $25 million, we got a shark, we're going to South Africa,
One shark.
and like we can just make up some stuff. Like, you know, now you guys have an argument, now you step in and be a dickhead, now you argue with your son, now you guys try and stop him, and like you could kind of improvise the movie almost.
It was, like, I said it when we were watching it, that it reminded me of the Crocodile Hunter movie, but because that movie is essentially like a story stitched into him doing his sketches with animals, where he but that was more jarring to watch because the two different ways of like editing those footage looked completely differently. In this movie, they did a pretty good job of like stitching together all the awesome seal shots that Hayden didn't like with the actual story.
It's Borat with sharks. Sacha Baron Cohen is actually the shark, and then they inject the filler scenes.
Well, that's the thing, though. Borat's $1 million. Where the hell did $25 million go with this
Those
movie?
sharks aren't
Yeah,
cheap.
that's a lot
It
of
was
money.
pretty well shot. I thought, you know, some of the sparkling ocean and the boat in the bay, and it all looked looked surprisingly good.
Yeah.
It did look really good other than the shots that you couldn't really see. And I'm not going to say any particular actor did not too well. Maybe the funny guy.
No, he was good. It was
They were all fine.
the kid was the only one that I thought was a bit weird. I didn't realize where he was from. His accent just didn't make sense to me.
It meandered.
I liked the old man. I thought he did a good job.
Yeah.
The millionaire.
And he was one of the royal guards in the Phantom Menace. So there you go.
And that's why I liked him.
Yeah, well, he deserved a lead role as an asshole, as a rich asshole.
He finally paid his dues.
If the budget was $25 million, how much do we think Halle Berry got? Because you watch a movie like this and you go, why would she have done this movie? And if the answer is, well, she got to go on vacation in South Africa, see all these animals, and she got paid $10 million, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
10 million, that's like what? 40% of the budget? I could see that. I could see it going to her if they
I
thought...
feel like 10 million's too high, but maybe 5?
I don't know. What does a movie star get paid these days?
I think the very top ones are getting like 10. I mean, there's Marvel people that maybe get like some back end or something, but I'm pretty sure. I remember Brad Pitt got $9 million for Inglourious Bastards. That's all I know.
And that was a big deal.
That was like a reasonable quote for him.
Yeah, you got Brad
So
Pitt.
yeah, so maybe like the higher people were getting like 15, 20. Maybe like your Will Smiths or your Tom Cruises or something. But
Why is Will Smith so... He's been in so many shitty movies. Like, is it just because...
he was
Why
the
is he
Fresh
so
Prince.
big? Is that all it is?
He's the Fresh Prince.
I think he's just got a
Who do you
certain
think? Men in
charisma
Black,
people like
man?
to watch.
Look, we're not
Yeah.
talking about, the kind of guy who's in like a monster's ball.
Yeah.
Or a dodgeball.
It's easy to forget these days, but like Will Smith was in Men in Black and Independence Day in the same year. And
Yeah.
Independence Day, I mean, it's pretty rickety now, but it was the biggest movie. It was Avatar back then, so,
Really?
And he rapped. Welcome to Miami.
Yeah, he would also be on the soundtracks for his movies. You get a song as well for the price.
Wild
That's
West.
true.
Yippee-yo, yippee-yay.
The theme he
I was
did
one of
for
those kids
iRobot.
that you
Remember
know, you
Hitch?
have movies that you like when you're a kid, and then you grow up and you realise everybody hated it. I loved
Yeah.
Wild Wild West. It was one of my favourite films, and everyone's like, that is
sick.
one of the worst movies ever made. And I'm like, are you serious? It's the best.
It's got a giant mechanical spider. That's all I need.
I mean, it's like a child wrote it, which is probably why I enjoyed it as a child.
It's up there with the Tuxedo, which is a Jackie Chan movie.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I love that movie. Weird movie.
The tagline for that movie was, if at first you don't tuxedo. And then it never really made sense to me, but that's what it was.
It's a good tagline.
Hey, Ben, in the pantheon of shark-related or ocean-related films, where does this one rank? And if you've seen many, what would be your favourite?
Look, it's pretty low because of the lack of shark action in it. I mean, I'm happy to lower my standards to suit a movie's genre, as is applicable to the film. There's one particularly bad shark movie that I think is worse, which is... I can't remember what it's called, but they only had stock footage of the sharks, and so they couldn't do. At least this movie showed people getting bitten, but every time the shark moved, they would just cut, and it would be a David Attenborough documentary, and then somebody screaming, or they were already dead or disappeared. And my favourite, hands down, is Deep Blue Sea.
Yes.
It's the pinnacle of B-movie shark monstrosity mayhem.
The CGI is bad, but that movie holds up in a way that few movies' energies can keep a movie from aging. And
That was one of
movie.
the first M-rated movies I saw in cinemas. I think that and Deep Impact.
Also, they
Around the same time.
they go pretty hard in that film for M. You know,
Yeah.
There's Sam Jackson gets tossed between sharks. I mean,
Yeah, he does a big monologue, and then this shark like eats his arm or something.
Just tears him around. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Do you think when Jaws was obviously like kind of the first big summer blockbuster, and it changed the game for movies, and people were like afraid to go to the water, and everyone saw Jaws, and then they made 3-4 sequels of it. At what point did shark movies go from like prestige blockbuster like top shelf movies to like Sharknado 6 and just the weird genre it is now, where it is like a B movie at best?
I think.
Well, I think it's...
Oh, sorry. You go.
anything I would have had to have said would have been a really badly formed joke that wouldn't have made sense all landed. So please go ahead.
I think that because they're underwater, I think that their budgets catch up to them a little bit faster than perhaps they hope in the pitch meeting. But I think that in general, across the board, that genre, if you go a bit broader than sharks, you know, Crawl was great. That was an alligator movie from a couple of years ago. Rogue, an Australian alligator movie, also good. So what is it about sharks? I don't know. Maybe they're too implausible to properly chase people or you know, get involved in that way, I guess.
Well, that's why I think I like The Shallows, because that's a movie I think about a deranged shark. It really is Jaws the Revenge, because I think it like remembers her. And so the fun of that movie is that you're like, this shark doesn't exist, but here it is, and it's a fucking psycho. I'm there for it.
Does that one have what's his name? Jack Black in it as well. It's like the sequel to Shallow Hal.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Shallows.
The Shallows. It's about the Shallow.
I just
family.
remembered at the end of at the end of this movie, at the end of Dark Tide 2012, during that monologue she does, or the little kind of narration, she just says something like, "We found this big mama great white shark and we tagged it and we tracked it for 11,000 kilometers to North Australia, and then it came back." And I was, what was the point in that?
I think
It's just meant to show her like love for the shark.
Yeah, it's meant to illustrate that
She
she
still
decided
loves
that
shark.
she would keep making she would
Shark
continue
documentaries.
shark documentaries with her husband.
But also, what else is a shark going to do with its life? Like, of course it's going to swim great distances.
Yeah, if it just sat there in the same zone, it would get boring.
Oh, before we get into the ratings, I did want to go back to one moment of the movie where she points out that there's a male shark, and the English guy is like, "How do you know it's a male shark?"
Yeah.
He's like, "You can tell by the anal glands on
Anal fins.
anal fins.
The Casper's on its anal fins.
The Casper's on its anal fins.
They're
It's like two
penises.
penises."
Yeah, which was just an interesting like way of, I guess, showing your knowledge on any situation. If someone asks a question, you just go, "Well, look at its anus." Don't you know anything about sharks?
I mean, it actually goes quite a long way to explaining why the sharks killed everybody. They're like, if this woman sticks her finger up my butt one more time.
Yeah, cool. All right. Well, look, I'd like to give this film a score out of 10, if that's okay with you guys.
Go on.
I had a monster's ball watching this film. I thought the sharks were impeccable. The
performances from the sharks.
the water was wet,
Oh yeah.
and the seaweed just right. Look, I didn't hate this film, and not as much as some of the other ones I've watched. I enjoyed it. It was too long. I think tighten that baby up to a nice 75-minute-er, and it would have been more fun. I give it a 4.
And I had a Monsters Inc. watching this movie. Absolutely. Story as old as time. Tell it to your grandchildren. Tell it to your brothers. Tell it to your sisters. This one went all the way back to home base and round again for another run. It's got to be a 3.8 from old Morgan Quinn on Truly Run Potatoes.
No, I had a real monster with Charlize Theron with this movie. I was pissed. I wanted to kill someone in a car. Yeah, too long. And with the amount of motion in the movie, I did start feeling seasick.
True.
It was all shot in like close-ups, and they were bobbly on a boat close-ups. So after a while, you're feeling it.
The worst thing about this podcast is not schlock. That's the best thing you can hope for. You get some hammy acting, you get some terrible stuff that you can have fun with. This was just waiting on a boat. There's a point where they're like, "How long to Shark Alley?" And they're like, 1.5 hours. And I was like, is that how long we've got left here? I thought good and hard. I'll give it some points for how beautiful certain shots look, but it's a 3. It's a 2.9.
Wow. I would just quickly say before we get to your review, Declan, I think the reason Shark Alley made me laugh so much is I think we watched Stayin' Alive, which was the sequel to Saturday Night Fever. And I think the production that John Travolta was in was called Satan's Alley. So it just reminded me of that, which was ridiculous.
Well, I had a real Monstars from Space Jam watching this movie. Yeah, I think Mitch is right. I think the fact, if it was schlocky, if it was Sharknado, I would have enjoyed it a lot more if it knew what it was. But this movie seemed to somehow think that it was like an emotional, dramatic movie. And it really wasn't. It almost had no genre, this movie. Like, it's a movie with a shark, but yeah, it wasn't scary, it wasn't funny, it was just like a real dial tone of a movie.
Sharks were not funny.
Yeah. But when they said Shark Alley, I started to picture, and I was like, you could make an awesome B-movie called Shark Alley. Don't go to Shark Alley past midnight. Those sharks don't fuck around. And, my imagination started to run wild.
When you pair Shark Alley with anal fins, you've got gold.
And if she'd been like, you have to shoot it in its anal fins, it's the only way to take it down, like, might have made sense. But yeah, it was just very long. I feel like you could easily cut 35 minutes out and make it like a fairly tight. Again, it was beautifully shot. It was actually like, production values were really good. Halle Berry was really good. So I'm going to give it, honestly, a 2.8 out of 10. And then I'll pass to Ben for your kind of wrap up and review, if you will, sir.
Yeah, I'd like to start by apologising because everybody has commented on the length of the film, and Declan proposed initially that we watch a lean 80-minute crime thriller, but I couldn't find it anywhere, and so we had to go with this one because it was available on Google Play. So it's my fault that we've been subjected to the extra 40 minutes of content.
We would have had to watch it eventually anyway. That's okay.
It's still on our list, and we've committed our lives to this list, so don't take it too personally.
But I agree. I think it was totally genreless. I think that the guy who made it walked into the studio, gave him a horror film pitch, got $25 million, and then walked out and went, right, I'm making Manchester by the Sea, I'm going to try my best to do this relationship drama. Yeah, I liked the cinematography. There's something in there. There's something in there if it was 30 minutes shorter or 40 minutes shorter, and with just a little bit of a script rewrite. One of the things with shark movies, the weird thing about this, you compare it to Jaws or Deep Blue Sea or whatever, there's always somebody that wants something. They don't have to be the antagonist, but there's always somebody that wants something that puts the other people in danger. And this didn't happen in this movie. In Jaws, it's the mayor. He wants to keep the tourism up. In Deep Blue Sea, they're trying to find a cure for Alzheimer's or whatever. In all of these monster movies, but nobody wants something that puts anyone in danger in this movie. So it's just sits there until the perfect storm happens at the end, and then it's over. But I thought the cast was pretty good, actually. I thought they did a goodish job with what they had. So I go with the 3.2.
Roger that.
It was generous.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you have it. What was that movie called again?
Dark Tide.
The Dark Knight. Yes, The Dark Knight by Halle Berry.
Dark Knight 2.
And the sequel is The Dark Tide Rises.
That was great. Ben, you're in lockdown there at the moment. You can't get out and about and play shows interstate.
You can't go swimming with sharks.
Even locally, I think. But have you got some stuff coming up or anything that you'd like to get out to our audience of millions?
No shows. They're all on sort of hold, but I do write books, crime novels. So Benjamin Stevenson, one's called Greenlight, one's called Either Side of Midnight. They're pretty good, I think. So if people want to read them.
So I've read Either Side of Midnight, and it was pretty good. The one thing I realized while reading it was a story about twins, and one of the twins had been killed, and it's kind of the mystery of why he might have been killed. And I also know that you are a twin, and so do you want to kill your twin brother?
I mean, the twins in the book are also stand-up comedians as well. So James was quite offended. My brother's name is James. When the book published, he's like, hang on, you've killed me off. And I said to him, I'm like, look, the twins in this book, it's called Either Side of Midnight because one's born 5 minutes before midnight and one's born 5 minutes after, but also they're sort of different personalities. But basically what I said to my brother was, look, it's your choice. You can choose to be offended that I've killed you off, because the twin that dies in the book is the handsome, charismatic, funny one. Or you can choose not to be killed off and admit that I'm the handsome, charismatic, funny one. To which James said, You killed me off.
See, I read your most recent book as well, which was riveting. It was called Dry Cleaners, Dry Cleaners, Dry Cleaners. Wherein,
It's postmodern, I was, trying some experimental techniques.
yeah, where like the slightly older, more senior member of staff murders the younger guy who can't quite iron those creases perfectly. But anyway, it was entertaining.
Yeah. So we've had some really cool guests on, and a lot of them have like touched Morgan in a way that has kept with him for life. And I think Ben teaching Morgan over 10 years ago how to iron pants has just really stuck with him. This guy has the most creaseless pants you'll see.
It's true.
Can I just
bring
say,
it up
Morgan,
every episode?
It's I hated that job so much. It was the absolute worst. I mean, there's so many things that I don't want to get sued at on a podcast, but it was just the worst. But when I met my wife, I'm like, oh, I'll iron my shirt. Yeah, sure. I'll iron that for you. Yeah. Do. And they're like, wow, you're really good at ironing. I'm like, damn right I am. Marry me. So it's a good talent.
Yeah, I suck at it.
Yes, but you have to blame your teacher there, really.
Yeah.
Poor guidance, I guess. And you have a podcast as well, right?
Yeah, we've got one season. It's called Effed Up Families. It's on Nova. And me and my twin brother talk about a set of an effed up family every week. So we sort of look into, there was a family of cannibals, there was a family that got shipwrecked on the open ocean and attacked by sharks, just families that have sort of messed up lives and histories, and we go through that.
Cool, great.
And the other thing I believe you have is kind of like an audio novella on Audible, right?
Oh yeah, you guys you've done your research. Yes, it's called Find Us. It's free for Audible members. And you also can get free Audible trials. It's short. It goes for 4 hours. It's a really twisted crime thriller book. Came out a month ago. It's doing phenomenally well. I'm so happy with it, and people seem to be loving it. So if you like big twists, give that one a whirl. No sharks.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll probably won't listen. I'll probably cancel my Audible now.
I'm buying it now. I'm buying it now for $0.00.
Yeah, sick.
Wow.
But you don't read the audiobook, do you? You've hired someone to do it for
No,
you,
they get professionals.
Yeah.
No.
Did you offer? Were you like, come on, let me get in there?
People want to hear me.
It's too hard. I don't trust my acting enough on, even if it was someone else's book, but I'm too close to it. So it's actually quite good. A lot of authors are really, really protective of their books. When they adapt them into films or something, they might cling on to them or want to supervise the changes. I personally believe that anybody who wants to make things out of my books, I want to see what they can do, and I want to trust their professionalism and their skills. If they're the right person that I've already chosen to do it and they're keen to do it. So I was happy. Audible, I just said, you guys make it. I've written it, you make it, and let's see your interpretation of it.
Is that on the cards for you? Is anyone looking at adapting any of your writing into a film? And if it gets 0%, will you come on the podcast and we can talk about it?
Oh, absolutely, I will talk about it. My first two books, Either Side of Midnight is part of a different project, so it won't be made into a film. It'll be made into something unique that I'm not sure I can talk about. It's not that high profile. I just don't know if I can talk about it or not. And then my next novel, we're talking to people. So you never know.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks for coming on the show. It's been a blast from the past.
Yeah. Cheers, guys. Really appreciate it.
It's really good to be able to just connect to someone who knows that Southside Canberra life.
I feel like it gave me a good understanding of shark films. I was attacked by a mutant shark in the Isabella Plains waterways during a flash flood, and I just had to learn to love Isabella Plains again.
You never know what you're going to find in those storm drains.
Cool. Thank you very much for coming on, and best of luck with all your future endeavours, and hopefully you're not locked down for too much longer, Ben.
Cheers, guys.